If you're opting for a green coffin, why not consider a green burial as well? This is the South Downs Natural Burial Site, one of many being established all over the UK. Here you can be laid to rest in any sort of biodegradable coffin, cardboard, wicker, even papier-mâché.
Woodland burials, or natural burials, have many positive aspects to them. You're not creating all the problems associated with cremation, and you're not creating the problems associated with maintaining conventional cemeteries. It's low maintenance by its very nature, and they're beautiful places for families to come and visit and to watch develop over time.
Ron Sonic came here with his wife Joan when they found out she had cancer. Together with their family, they planned her burial exactly the way she wanted it.
Joan loved nature and all living things. She loved the woods and the countryside. She didn't want to be cremated for various ecological reasons, I think. So she hit upon this place. I can only describe the experience of Joan's burial as being beautiful. Going through the woods here with the horse and cart seemed to be right and natural and decent. You know, here we've got the natural cycle of growth and maturity and decay, and it underlined the fact that that's what we are too, part of the natural order of things. You know, we can't escape that. So it was very, very strengthening.
I quite fancy... Can you book me in there? I quite fancy being in a nice little wood like that.
Well, it's nice. It's like, you know, people do have a natural affinity to the outdoors, and I think it's kind of comforting to know it's there. But I'm quite interested in what we can do in the here and now, which brings me to you, Mr. T.
What are your green credentials like? You've got a windmill in your back garden?
No, but I do recycle.
Oh,
I recycle.
man.
I put the bottles here and stuff like that. I put the tree limbs in this container. Oh, yes. And when I pick up the garbage around my neighbors, sometimes people leave, you know, napkins and stuff like that. I'm a very clean guy. Right. So like you saw in that clip, don't leave no stuff in my cab.
I like it. Good thing.
Well, the woman in green here has got some pointers for you.
I want to make a tree hugger of you. Yeah, I think it should be part of your manifesto.
I apologise about that remark.
That's quite all right. That's quite made of sterner stuff. It's okay. But I know that you were kind of famous for driving a tank, which is not so great. But I just want to tell you about some things that are coming up. In the UK, we're about to get green speed bumps. So you drive over them and you generate energy, and you can generate enough energy from 4 of them to light a whole street.
Extremely
and
clever.
to do the traffic lights as well. That's the first thing. Second thing is green gyms, because you look, you know, with all due respect, like you like to work out. So this is for you. The spokes, this is in America at the moment, the spokes on the wheels of the bicycles in the gym can actually generate enough energy to provide 60% of the gym's energy needs.
But look at his arms. Imagine the kilojoules in there. You could power half of the south side of Chicago just doing bench presses.
They need to add an arm exercise as well. And the third thing, this is in London. I've actually been here because we saw a clip of you dancing before. This is a green club.
Oh, boy.
And it's brilliant. So there's a very clever mechanism in the floor. There's some crystals that turn the dancing energy, the gyrations, into
So
electricity.
smooching's no good there. You need vigor.
You need your dad dancing.
That's what you do.
Wow.
Yeah, dad dancing would be quite good for that.
Fabulous. Thank you, Lucy.
3 innovations.
Marvellous.
Thank you.
All this week, Dan Snow's been looking at massively important days in British history.
The running of the first steam train, the sailing of the Magna Carta, the docking of the Windrush.
All great days, but arguably nowhere near as dramatic as the day the Romans showed up.
On the dunes above Deal Beach in Kent, a solitary crumbling bunker stands as a reminder of Britain's defences against the threat of Nazi invasion by sea. But long before World War II, Britain's southern coastline was a prime target.
On a summer's afternoon 2,000 years ago, a mighty foreign fleet was massing out there in the Channel. They were Roman warships under the command of Julius Caesar. As his legionaries stormed ashore here at Deal Beach, they also entered the history books. The Romans had arrived in Britain.
But they didn't exactly receive a warm welcome. The local tribes put up a fierce fight. Although Caesar eventually took the beach, within days his forces were in disarray, their boats all but destroyed by high tides and stormy seas. He retreated back across the Channel with his tail between his legs.
Julius Caesar might have been the first Roman to arrive here. In fact, his diary is considered to be the beginning of recorded British history. But he wasn't the man who built Roman Britain. That honour goes to the Emperor Claudius, who in 43 AD sent an invasion force of 40,000 men to finish the job that Caesar had started.
They landed just down the road at Richborough, which quickly became the busy entrance port to the Roman province of Britannia. Today, the site is looked after by English Heritage's John Grigsby.
Well, the first thing that jumps to mind is how on earth the Romans land here, because there's no water anywhere around.
You have to imagine that in Roman times, this flat plain of land that we can see extending 2 miles to the east was in fact open water. It's what we call the Wonsum Channel.
I see, so this was actually jutting out into the sea.
It was, and there were 2 spits of sandy gravel, really, that made this quite a calm lagoon.
The Romans quickly built a fort here and surrounded it with ditches to protect it from attack by unhappy locals.
These pair of ditches that you can see behind us here are the earliest Roman remains yet found in Britain.
Wow. OK, so they come here, they get a toe hold in Richborough, and what happens next?
They split into 3 sections. One section went down to the West Country, and the other 2 sections moved north to try and conquer the rest of Britain.
Within 40 years, they occupied almost the whole country.
What was life like under the Romans? I mean, would it have been very different from before they'd arrived?
On a material level, yes. You have to imagine that a couple of generations before the Romans came here, your average British chieftain was living in a roundhouse with a thatched roof, with an open fire, no running water. And a couple of generations after the Romans were here, your average British chieftain was living in a villa, reclining on a couch, drinking wine, eating olives, with running water and bathhouses.
Sounds like a pretty good exchange to me. Give up your freedom in return for central heating and good food.
Britain was Roman for the next 360 years. But by the end of the 4th century AD, the empire was crumbling. And in 410, the last Roman legionaries departed these shores, but not without leaving their mark.
The Romans left a huge and lasting legacy. Not only did they give us our name, Britannia, but they founded the city that would become our capital, Londinium. They gave us great architecture, new roads, and a new religion. The Roman invasion of Britain is one of the most important events in our history.
Well, Dan Snow's here with some examples of the kind of thing the Romans brought to Britain. But I've got to say, Dan's achieved much in his life. Very highly qualified, went to Oxford, rode in the boat race, but you've just surpassed it all, haven't you, Dan?
I'm actually speechless for the first time in my life. Mr. T said that he's seen me on telly, watching the History Channel. It's on my programmes.
In America, this is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Keep up the good work. Yes, with the gladiator battle. Yes, he was showing the guys battling. And I saw him. I said, "Wow, I thought I saw this guy." On the International History Channel in the States. Wow, yes.
Oh, that is truly fantastic.
It is incredible. Right, you're going to love this then if you're interested in history.
He makes a lot of things up, actually, Dan does. I'm never quite sure whether he speaks the truth. But he reckons that the Romans brought this kind of stuff to Britain. So go on, what are you on about, Dan? What's the hamburger doing?
I'm in bliss. I can't really do anything. OK, fast. They brought fast food. Romans brought fast food. They had little stalls. Domesticated cats, they brought with them.
They brought them.
Yeah.
So they had a boat full of cats as they came across the channel.
Exactly. Wine.
Wine. What's the...
Olives, I guess, obviously. What's the... Oh, yeah, bikinis.
Yeah.
Bikinis. There are pictures of Roman women wearing bikinis. We've no evidence for bikinis before the Romans arrived. And, of course, the toilet.
Well, that's a modern toilet. They didn't bring those.
You're right, that is a modern toilet. They had these very cool arrangements where they'd all sit beside each other and there'd be a little stream running underneath.
Excellent. What else?
I know.
Then the fire, of course, organised fire brigades they had, which the ancient Britons wouldn't have had, and of course baths. We've all heard of Roman baths. The rubber ducky, as Mr. T points out, is the only thing that isn't actually technically Roman.
Do you know what? We were quite unable to repel those Roman invaders, but if they'd been faced with this sight when they got to the beach at Deal, they would have just gone straight back to Rome, wouldn't they?
Well,
we needed Mr. T defending this sceptred isle.
That picture does remind me of one other thing the Romans brought, and that is jewelry.
No!
Oh, wow, damn! Oh, man! Oh, damn!
Oh, incredible.
That's something.
It was mentioned earlier, Mr. T, you here, Snickers have brought you here to try and make our men tough. There's not a lot of work to be done with Dan, is there?
No,
really?
Dan is pretty cool, but I will give you some candy bars after we leave. Yes.
Just fatten him up a little bit. So what else are you doing while you're here?
Well, just going around, meeting the people, getting them love. They loving me back, you know, radio shows. Wherever they send me, I just talk and do my thing, have fun, meeting people, you know. So it's really nice.
We saw you playing rugby earlier today.
Yeah, with the tough guys out there. They tough. They are real tough.
Fantastic.
You may have your work cut out with you, you know. I don't think you realise it could be a tough job for you this week, but anyway.
Listen, it's absolutely fantastic to meet you. You've been a great guest, Mr.
Thank you so much. You made my day being here, Mr. T, and thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
You've been wonderful too.
Dan is going to bed happy tonight.
He is.
No question.
Tomorrow we've got Paul Martin. We'll see you tomorrow at 7. Bye-bye.
Have a good evening. Bye for now.
Oh, brilliant.